This is Gene Lance on the Workers Beat Extra. I'm going to interview Mary Chambers you live in Irving, Texas, don't you?
That's correct, yes.
And you worked your whole life through. Did you ever have a union?
The one of the companies that I worked with did have a union, but because I was in sales, I was not part of it, but I certainly supported their cause.
You were not eligible to join the union.
No, I was not.
What'd you think of the union?
They had a very good union, and they paid their people well, and the people that owned the company at that time, they treated their people well because they were a union.
Yeah.
And they only had, what that I'm aware of, they only had one strike, and the union won.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you had a pretty good view of unions and thought they were okay, even though
Yeah.
you've never actually been eligible to join a union in your whole work career.
Never.
I see.
Trust me, I would have, because when I started in my business, I made a third of what the guys made, and there was no union to back me up.
I see.
Yeah.
And you were painfully aware of that.
Very painfully.
Yeah. Well, when did you retire?
When did I retire?
Mhm.
I retired 2 years ago.
And I know that's when you started showing up right away at
That's right.
the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans.
That's right. I got in touch with you again.
Was there some kind of thought process that went on there, or was this just something you meant to do all along?
Well, let me tell you, part of it is that my son had never been in a union, and he was working at Southwest Airlines, and they were trying to get their union up and cranked up. And so I told him, I said, I'm going to get involved in the union again. And that's what I did. And he's now that Southwest Airlines now has a good union.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just, in fact, they're bringing back some of the people that they threatened to furlough.
Yeah.
So the union stuck it out and got.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Yeah.
I bet you're proud of him.
I'm very proud. Yes.
So you had a positive attitude about unions and you retired and you immediately got active with the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans, which is union associated. It's a retiree organization that's associated with unions, and you've been very active with it. And I believe your sister is too.
Yes, she is.
So the
Yes.
both of you come to Texas Alliance for Retirement.
Yes, we do. We believe in the cause.
And the other day, I was surprised to see that you're actually making a regular contribution to the Dallas AFL-CIO
You betcha.
through their Facebook page.
Yes.
And I happen to know that you worked all your life as a saleswoman, so
Yeah.
so you're not rich.
No.
You're not one of these rich old ladies looking for some place to spend their money.
No, in fact, I get a decent Social Security check. Nothing compared to what a guy in my industry that we went the same path. Trust me. But I make enough money between my sister and I. She lives with me. This is my little old house, and between the two of us, we make our bills, and we give to good causes.
And you picked the AFL-CIO as one of them.
Yes.
And is there any way to explain that in words? Why did you pick the AFL-CIO?
I just want the union to the union used to be stronger than it is now, and it just needs all the help it can get to get
That
back.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you're backing them.
You betcha.
And the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans is part of the union movement.
Yes,
You're
it
being
is.
very active in that.
Yep. I don't give any more money to the AARP. They're not my company anymore.
The AARP, of course, is not union affiliated in any
No.
way.
No.
It's affiliated with insurance companies.
Exactly. The last thing I need to be affiliated with.
On their behalf, their insurance company isn't so bad.
Yeah.
They have pretty good insurance.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of coverage of the issues, so you can find out what the issues are from them.
I still get their magazine, but I give my money where it's best used.
Yeah. What do you think of the idea of having a progressive coalition built around labor. In other words, expressly trying to support what labor is doing. Do you think that would be a good idea?
I think it is a magnificent idea.
And that's something that anybody could do.
I know it.
That we even could do it here in the Dallas area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we probably, between the two of us, we probably know 10 or 20 people that would think similarly.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm thinking of starting to call some meetings, support meetings for the labor movement, and having them after the AFL-CIO meetings, so that we find out what the AFL-CIO is going to be doing, and then we just look and see how we could help.
Okay.
What do you think of that idea?
I like it. I
Would
like it.
you participate in?
Yes.
Would you run for president?
No. Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. I'm actually thinking if we did this, it would probably should have officers. Probably
Yeah.
should have, or maybe it wouldn't have officers right away, but it could have a plan, to
Yeah.
elect officers in some.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah,
I
that's
think
fine.
the main thing it would need is activities, things to be doing. Like the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans is nearly always got a campaign going on.
Right.
They're working right now on expanding Medicaid in Texas, and they have a new project of calling the governor to trying to get him to straighten out the mess on the vaccinations, so that Texans will be able to get their vaccinations in an orderly way.
Yeah,
And because right now it just seems like everything's going every which way.
I know.
So having campaigns that are meaningful to people is a really important idea.
It is. It's very beneficial. And in the world we live in today, people work all the time and don't make a living wage. So
Mhm.
I don't think, it bothers me greatly, quite honestly, that we cannot pay people a living wage. So
Well,
whatever it takes.
do you like the Fight for 15 campaign then?
Yes.
This is something that's being backed, I think, by the service employees, but in some parts of the country, they have a raging campaign for the Fight for 15. We don't seem to have that here, but something we could do,
Yeah.
and I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I particularly like to see the food service workers start to get,
Oh, yes. Yes.
because they were left out. They were left out of the National Labor Relations Act. So it's very hard for them to get organized, and it's very hard for them to get a decent wage. They're not even covered by the minimum wage.
I know they're not. Did you know that Abbott is going to allow alcohol to be picked up along with other food permanently? That's what he's worried about. He's
Really?
not worried about people that have to do the work.
So Governor Abbott, instead of worrying about working people, is just trying to make sure that the liquor industry does well.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me about the present approach to overcoming the pandemic, is they just give a little bit of money to some working people and a little bit of money to some unemployed people and a whole lot of money to churches and let's see, what was it I saw yesterday? These are organizations that were trying to stop people from getting vaccinations.
Yeah. Anti-vaxxers got 850,000. I read about it.
850,000.
Yeah. 850,000. Yeah. 850,000 anti-vaxxers.
These are people who are trying to stop us from getting vaccinated. And they're, another way to say it is that they're pro-disease.
This is what anything. I quite honestly think that when I hate to say his name, I always call him Frump. he had this herd immunity thing. So he really didn't care how many people died. And that showed in every capacity. And yesterday we passed the 400,000 people. And to me, it shows that he, in fact, we have lost now more people to COVID than people in World War II. That's my, I just find it so hard to believe.
Well, if we last another 24 hours, we can stop worrying about getting a nuclear war any minute.
Yes.
Because Trump will be gone from the White House, at least.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he's still going to be around in politics.
Yes.
But he won't be in the White House. So Biden will be sworn in tomorrow.
Yes.
What's your view of what might happen? Because I can tell you that the AFL-CIO is very rosy about it. They really like Biden, and they really like his appointment to the labor secretary, and that they believe that Mr. Schumer, who is going to be in a position of power in the Senate, they believe that Mr. Schumer is going to help pass the PRO Act, which is protect the right to organize. The PRO Act, and it has, for one of the things it has in it is infrastructure. Instead of just giving people money, they give them jobs.
Yes. Yeah.
Building up the country. So it's got that in it, and it's got changes in the way the law affects union organizing, so that union organizing might be a little more possible than it has been since Ronald Reagan was elected. So what's your view? Are you pretty?
I'm positive on Biden because he's really for the $15 minimum wage as well.
Uh-huh.
And I think that one of the reasons that people voted for for the person that's in the White House right now is because he promised he was going to bring jobs back and do all this, and of course he didn't do any of that.
I see.
So people have they need work, and they need to make enough money to feed them and clothe their family and send them to school. And I think Biden sees that, and I think we're going to see that from Biden.
So your view is pretty positive.
Yes, it is.
The Biden administration. Of course, you realize that he has very, very thin majorities in the House.
I do know that.
Even thinner in the Senate. And the Supreme Court is lopsided the other way.
Oh, I know it's not going to be easy, but that's why he needs us.
So if he's got the people with him, he can get things done.
Yes.
And that's your view, huh?
Yeah.
Is there what kind of things would you tell people if everybody was listening to Mary Chambers? If everybody was listening to Mary Chambers, and you had a chance to tell everybody what to do or what approach to take, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to get involved. If they're not in the union, get involved in union related matters.
That's exactly perfect. Thank you so much, Mary Chambers. This is Gene Lantz on the Workers Beat Extra, talking to Mary Chambers.